Hello, and welcome to the Gotham Outsiders. Today is a special episode. So today, your Bat Obsessive, me, Chris, and your Bat Acolyte, TJ. Say hi, TJ.
Hello, everyone.
We are going to be going a little less outsider and a little more academy because we have with us Karl Kerschl, artist and illustrator of Gotham Academy.
Hello.
How are you doing, Karl?
I'm great. How are you guys doing?
Doing great.
Holding in there.
Yeah.
keeping it together. Yeah.
Just keeping it together.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming. We just recently talked about Gotham Academy Volume 1. You know, we're so excited you're here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. What did you talk about? You just kind of went through the first volume?
Yeah, so we kind of our regular episodes are a book club, and so we read the book with everyone who listens, and we talk about it with different guests. And yours was one of my favorite episodes. We had so much fun discussing Gotham Academy, and it's one of my favorite Batman comics. So
Yes, Chris had been hyping it up to me for so long, and we finally got around to it.
So Karl, what would you say is your history with Batman?
Oh man, my history with Batman is a long one, longer than my history with comics, really. Like I was born in 1974. So like the Batman TV show was on the air, and I remember seeing that, and I actually remember I must have seen it when I was really young and then forgotten about it because I thought I had dreamt it. I thought I had this memory of seeing Batman on TV, like fighting on a submarine or something. I thought that can't be real. And then when I was a little older, I found out it was real. And then I was a big fan of the comics afterwards. And then it really kind of, actually Batman 400, I would say was my, I mean, I love Batman as a character, as an idea, but when I got that, I think it was, I don't know if it was an annual or what. Anyway, it was a big issue. It was an oversized issue. And I got it on a family road trip. And I just read the hell out of it for days and days and days in the back of this truck. And it was sort of like, it was a longer story, but each chapter was done by a different artist. And it was when it's a hell of a lineup too. Like there were a bunch of amazing people on that book.
Yeah.
But it was where I kind of fell in love with Bill Sienkiewicz's artwork. There's Art Adams stuff in there. Steve Lealoha. There's I can't remember who else. There's it's full of great work anyway. And I haven't looked at it in a while, but that was kind of the beginning of my Batman obsession. And then of course I got into Dark Knight Returns, and that was a huge deal for me too. Gotham Academy owes a lot more to Batman the Animated Series than anything else. So,
well, speaking of anthologies, I wanted to bring up that you just had a story that you wrote and drew for Batman Black and White. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
That's so exciting.
That was a ton of fun.
Yeah. What was that process like? Was it weird dipping your toes into the writing territory of DC?
Well, I mean, it was, I don't know if it was weird. Like I wasn't a co-writer on Gotham Academy for that first volume. I had a lot of story input. Brendan and Becky and I shared a studio at that time, which is how that whole project came together.
Oh, wow.
But then Becky moved away, and I co-wrote the first one or two issues of second semester with Brendan. And I had been writing my own webcomic for years, and Brendan and I did our a Wednesday comic story that we wrote together, and then we also co-write our image comic called Isola. So I wasn't a stranger to that, but it was the first time I'd done any kind of solo writing for DC, and to do kind of to be on my own with that, and also for it to be Batman was sort of it was a big deal personally. Like it was a bit nerve-wracking to be. Also that book is it's like a rogues gallery of amazing people. So like you're just kind of being thrown into this anthology book with all these legendary artists and writers. So
well, you are in it, so it must be pretty good. A good lineup.
Yeah, I felt very very lucky to be to be involved.
Oh,
So
well,
it
I
was a lot
just
of
read
fun.
it. I read your story right before coming on here, and I have to ask,
Mhm.
is there a Maps as Robin agenda happening here?
There's
Yes.
there's been an agenda on our part for years.
Yes.
So like Brendan and Becky and I always, I mean, it wasn't our agenda when we created the character, but pretty quickly, it was, she's just such a breath of fresh air, and she'd be
Yeah.
it's so easy to envision her in that role that I was just kind of making fan art for it
Oh.
and posting stuff just because I thought it was fun. And then we're all just super behind it. And Becky actually she's co-writing Wonder Woman now, I think.
Yeah.
And she put a Maps suit in the Batcave to suggest that she had canonically been, I guess it's like it was one of the Future State books. So it suggests that at some point in Bat history, Maps Mizuguchi was
That's
Robin.
amazing. I love that so much.
We are going to take that and run with it.
Right. It's canon now. We can't, no take backs.
Yeah, my story is like, it's like an 8-page kind of Elseworlds thing. So, anything goes, but but for sure, if that could ever happen, I mean, we have nothing to do with it, but I just kind of keep putting it out there to keep hope alive.
Right. Manifest this. We'll light some candles.
And so is it safe to say that Maps is your favorite of the Gotham Academy crew?
Not really, not my personal favorite. I like Olive a lot.
Yeah.
I love Maps. I love all of them. It's like picking children, but I like Olive the best. I think I relate to her the most. I just liked her. Yeah. I like her kind of melancholy journey.
Yeah.
For sure.
Me too.
Chris, who's your favorite?
It's between Olive and Maps. I really love them both. I think I relate to Maps more. She has my personality.
Oh, she does.
She really does. She does. Yeah, I think so. How about you, TJ?
My favorite is easily Colton, and I loved him even before I knew he was gay. Right. Chris spoiled that for me after reading volume 1, and I was like, you know what? I love him even more now.
He's fun. He was actually the character that took the longest to design.
Yeah.
He was always there on the page, but it kind of took a long time to like Olive and Maps and Kyle and even Pomelin were really like first pass designs. Like I just like Brendan and Becky had a list of characters and they were all like really clear in my head. And Colton took like Becky had a very different idea of what he should look like, I think. And I based him on what's his name? Blanking on his name.
I was reading this. This was in the back of the volume, I think.
Oh yeah, did I say it in there? Oh good, so you already know.
You did. I know, but I couldn't tell you for the life of me. It was someone from a movie.
It's the kid from the Bling Ring. I was watching the Bling Ring and I thought, oh, I think that's Colton. And
I just love his design. I mean, he has my favorite design. Just the hair, the glasses, and his little upturned nose is like just from right away. I was like, oh, he's fun. And then game.
I love him. He's so kind of damaged. He's just covering up a lot emotionally. Like in the first, I think it's is it page 2 or 3? There's a double page spread of Olive and Maps running to school, and there's a big shot of the Gotham Academy with all these inset panels. Like basically, I think the first shot of Colton is him kind of cover up a bruise under his sunglasses, which is why he's wearing these shades all the time. So he's in the boys' bathroom, kind of looking at his bruised eye.
Yeah, I feel like we have to shout out Pomeline too because I love her character design.
Yes,
she's got a great name. Brendan's great at naming people.
Yes, her whole design is great. I love her little cult like vibe she had in the one issue where she's got the cloak and she's lighting the fire. I love it.
Yeah, for sure. And we've talked about this a little bit, but that process of co-creating these characters, like, what was that like?
Super like everything about making Gotham Academy was like very casual and fun. Like it was Brendan and Becky and I were just pals. Like I've known Brendan since I was 10. And like we went to school together, we grew up together. We've been making up stories together forever, like designing stuff and conceptualizing things. Becky, I've known for a long time now. She was sharing a studio with us. And so Gotham Academy was such, it was so under the radar. Like the DC, like we had an amazing editor, and outside of him, outside of Mark Doyle and the three of us, like no one really knew what was going on with that book. Like we just kind of they just left us alone to do what we wanted. Outside of him just approving the concept and looking at scripts, they kind of just let us have free reign, and so we just made a bunch of stuff up. Like Becky's pitch for the series was just like Harry Potter and Gotham, basically. And Brendan and I were like, what, that's what you want to do? Like we wanted to do something more Batman centric, and she said, no, trust me, this would be way more fun. And so then after that, I think we talked a little bit about just the tone of it. And my recollection is Brendan just came back with like a list of characters, like just names and a 1 or 2 sentence description saying, I'm sure I have it somewhere, but just saying Mouse Mizuguchi, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Her name's Mia. People call her Maps. She's Kyle's sister, boisterous, whatever. It was all just short descriptive stuff.
Right.
And then I just sat down and started sketching them. And it was all very easy from that perspective.
That's such a charming story. It like gives this image of a kind of sitcom of you all creating this together.
Yeah, like I think you can feel like the warmth and the I mean, there's such a found family in the book, and it sounds like you guys kind of had that going on as well, and that makes me so happy to hear.
Yeah. We laughed a lot. Like we were I think after the first issue came out, we did like a road trip to kind of go do a signing, and we just spent hours in the car joking and making up stories, and we just make ourselves laugh a lot. There are a lot of silly jokes in Gotham Academy that just reflect whatever stupid thing we thought was funny at the time.
I love that so much. Now, so this book has a definite different feel than most Batman stories do. What was it like reinterpreting Gotham in a sort of lighter way?
I think we were working in like a very, very specific corner of Gotham. And I think we all just understood that Gotham didn't change. Gotham was still a dark, horrible place outside, like downtown. And this school was like a private school, kind of on the outskirts of it. So we, it could be spooky and Gothic, but it didn't have to be, it didn't have to be as like dark and murderous as the rest of the city. So, but it was always in the back of our minds, and we took a lot of cues, as I said, from the animated series, which was, like Gotham is a dangerous place, but it also like a lot of that is reflected in the visuals of it. Like you can suggest a lot. I think one of the reasons Gotham Academy works as well as it does is because even though we're pretty much telling stories about completely new characters that no one knew, there was a lot to lean back on in that everyone knows what Gotham is, like Batman's barely in there. Yeah. But you get it, like you get the tone of it because you know who Batman is, you know what Gotham is, and that's enough to just set a stage and make you feel comfortable, and it makes it not feel like a new book. It feels like it's kind of been around for a while.
Yeah. It's very grounded in the greater mythos.
Plus we have a lot of villains that pop up, and most of them harken back to the animated series depictions of them.
Which I have to ask, did Killer Croc bang her mom, yes or no?
I don't know if we ever had that conversation. I would say no.
This was something we discussed in depth.
You mean Olive's mom, Sybil?
Yes.
I'm going to say no. I don't think it ever came up.
Okay.
Shockingly, they didn't talk about it, TJ.
No, I'm kidding.
I don't honestly don't. It's been a while since I read. I don't remember what their relationship even was. Like,
if they're friends in the first volume, they kind of talk about
he talks about her quite often. They
seem I guess he just knew her in Arkham or something, because Sybil was in Arkham
right
for a while, like for a couple of years, I think, before the story takes place. I assume he just talked to her a lot in Arkham.
Is that what they call it? No, I'm kidding.
Were people not getting busy in Arkham is what you're telling me?
I guess not.
Aren't they locked? Like, I don't know how much.
I don't know how locked
private
up they
time
are.
you've got with a crocodile man in Arkham Asylum.
They do keep getting out, is what I'm saying.
Or getting in.
Right.
Like anything's possible, but we never discussed it.
Okay. I will
Yes.
leave it as a headcanon then.
But
Are you saying that really shines a whole new light on his paternal attitude?
Yeah, for real.
Is he a stepdad? Maybe.
You didn't know you were gonna get this, did you,
No,
Carl?
but yeah, I'll ask the. You know what? We'll put a pin in it, and you can ask.
Okay, good.
Ask the writers. When they
Yeah,
come
we'll
on the show.
circle back, is what we're
Right. If this wasn't a middle grade, okay, we'll move away from the alligators.
On the note of the alligator, the croc, as it is,
Crocodile.
what was it like for you to have the opportunity to reinterpret these characters that people do know versus creating the ones that are new to this story?
Well, it was fun, but I felt like we were on pretty safe ground because we're kind of just paying homage to animated series stuff. Like the Killer Croc that I was drawing was mostly just a kind of like a slightly amped up version of the one in the animated series. Who else did we use? Not the Mad Hatter. The bookworm was the bookworm that I drew was just a riff on the Adam West series character.
Yeah.
I can't remember who else we used. I don't think I had to reinterpret a ton of stuff. Like a lot of it was
you had
other characters.
Tim Drake and Damian Wayne both
Oh
appear.
yeah, they were pretty well established already. And I had done some work on Robin before. And the big Damian issue was actually drawn by Helen Chen.
Right.
So I think I don't remember if I even drew him. I did draw a Tim Drake issue.
Yeah.
But that was like there's really not much deviance from like however I would have drawn him in a regular book. I sort of tried to skew toward a more open line style. Like we were just trying to make it look like an animated show on the page. That was our goal, which is why we had Michelle was doing painted backgrounds and like we had flat character colors just to give the impression of an animated series, which it should totally be.
Yeah, I agree. Anyway. It should be. Yeah, make it happen. We're putting that out into the world now.
Yeah, keep putting that stuff out there. I wish I had the power to make that happen.
Yeah, the art was my favorite part of the book was the art easily. The colors also, we're talking about how bright it was. Yeah. I loved the colors that were so bright and they popped. And it just went perfectly with your artwork.
Absolutely. I feel like there's a lot of visuals from it that stick out in my mind, which is not always the case in Bat books. Sometimes they blend together. Yours definitely does not. Your art style is very distinct.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I know what you mean. Batman's got a very specific kind of, it's not a style guide per se, but like people do it just lends itself toward very dark work. Also, I think like we'll see what happens now because DC has gone through a lot of changes in the last year and a half. I kind of think that we're going to see a little more, a slightly lighter interpretation of the Bat characters.
I would be very excited for that to happen.
Well, actually, I mean, if you like everything Jorge Jimenez is doing on Batman right now is incredible. Like, I agree. I don't know if I've ever seen comics look that good.
This is like, the Tynan run.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love
Jimenez's artwork is just some next level brilliant work. It's like
beautiful.
It's dark, dark gothic Batman. Like everything at Gotham is super grounded, but at the same time, he has these sort of like exaggerated kind of manga elements.
Yes.
It's just amazing work.
Absolutely.
He did Super Sons too. Is that right?
Yeah, he's great.
Yes.
Like, I feel like he's really kind of walking an amazing line between like realistic and exaggerated.
Yeah, I'm here for it. More color in comics, please. Let's do it.
Yes. And speaking of colorful, can we talk about the queerness of Gotham Academy, specifically like the found family aspect, Colton as a character? I was reading into Maps possibly being queer or identifying as queer one day because she wore a tux to the dance at one point. So how intentional like was this type of queerness in the book from the get-go?
Totally intentional. We just wanted like a diverse cast, and especially with the Maps thing, we never really said. We didn't make any hard decisions other than that we knew she was like, at least at this stage of her life, she was kind of like asexual or ambivalent. She didn't give enough of a shit to really to worry about romance or sexuality. She was just all about her interests, and the tux was just kind of like, I think she's just so herself.
Yeah.
That like, I think that's just her fashion sense, you know, like I that's the way I think I interpreted it at the time.
I read her as Ace too, so that's very exciting.
Yeah, I love the idea of her like identifying as Ace in the future, because right now I feel like she's kind of young, like she's not thinking about that like you're saying. But I love that.
If we ever did more, I think we'd maybe get into that a little bit more.
Oh, I love it. You're throwing out like all these nuggets.
Yeah, well, there's so much, and it's something that like that series is beloved by a lot of people, but it's also pretty niche, like the audience. Like it wasn't like, it didn't get a ton of attention when it was out, and ended at like, what was it, like 12? No, I think 12 issues. It went on for like 24 or 20. I don't remember, 2 or 3 volumes.
Yeah.
But not enough. Like it would be nice to revisit those kids like a couple of years later, and just age with them a bit.
And that I have my next question. Where do you think the characters would be right now? Are they in high school, college, and how are they holding up?
I think again, we haven't talked about it, but in my, like, I did a sketch a couple of years ago. And I think for me, I see them like, it's like 2 years down the road. I think Maps is kind of like leading this crew now. I see Pomelin as like a full-on Van Helsing, like less goth and more serious monster hunter.
Oh, I love that for her.
I picture her in a lot of hats. I think she'd get into hats.
Amazing.
and I think actually for Maps, I'm interested in the relationship between her and Catherine Carlo, her the mini Clayface. Like I think she's like a friend that Maps, like a type of friend Maps has never really had. You know, like she's kind of a mentor to this Clayface girl who's trying to figure out how to be a person.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I think that sort of adds a different facet to her personality. It just rounds out her character more.
100%. Oh, I love that.
That's just me. Like we haven't really, like Brendan and Becky haven't really talked about it, but that's kind of where I see.
I keep imagining
Kyle is Kyle. Kyle doesn't change.
Kyle. I forgot about Kyle until you mentioned him earlier.
I love Kyle. I know he's like kind of like a wet blanket, like lawful good kind of character, but I still love him.
I do too.
I was on team Colton Kyle. I wanted that to happen. So I wanted to ask, were you shipping any of the characters, or do you have a favorite ship, either from Gotham Academy or not in Gotham Academy, canon or not?
Oh God, that's pretty broad. No, like I not for the kids. Like I think they all had. I think like I was rooting for Colton, but I think Kyle was not it. And
I agree.
And but beyond that, like I thought the Bruce and Isla relationship would have been fun to explore more. The Professor McPherson relationship. I liked her too, and I don't think she got enough screen time. I think she was a cool character.
Okay. Yeah. I will rephrase my answer. I want Colton and happiness. I just want him to be happy.
We all want that.
I think he would be happier without Kyle, but sure.
Aren't we all? No, I'm kidding. Poor Kyle.
He's a perfectly nice person.
I know. So I guess who did you like Olive with? Karl? Is my question.
Oh God, that's a good question too, because I forgot all about Tristan.
I love her and Tristan.
I felt like the book wanted me to ship her with everyone.
Becky was all about Tristan.
Yeah.
Becky was like totally into like we had this sort of love triangle. I mean, like definitely not Kyle, right? Like,
no, right.
She's over that.
You said it, not me.
I said it too.
I love Kyle, but I don't think I think that relationship ran its course, and I think Tristan is like a brief flirtation, and I think we just never met anyone who was olive appropriate yet.
I think that's fair. That's fair.
And Chris, did
Yet.
you have more questions?
Oh, yes. I
Actually,
like that.
you know what? I did. I'll tell you another nugget, which was that I also never like the goal of that first Gotham Academy volume, or a couple of volumes, for all of us, but for me specifically, was really like setting up. It was really like telling the origin story of a supervillain. Like Olive is a dark character.
Yeah.
And to me, we were always doing a YA horror book.
Yeah.
And I was never really into an Olive redemption arc. Like I like, you know, Olive and Maps kind of like coming to terms with one another, but I don't see Olive as like a redeemed, like good character now. Like I wouldn't put her in the next series. Like I'd have her in there occasionally, but I wouldn't feature her. So I think she'd be off doing like finding herself or doing something else.
Interesting.
So she gets a solo title.
I don't know if anyone would read
I would read it.
I would read it. Solo title.
Yeah.
I would read it, sure.
Oh, Silverlock. It could just be called that.
Yes. Pitch it.
I am DC. This is.
No, I just keep thinking about like an animated show, like you know how HBO Max did Harley Quinn, and it was so good. Like, give us Gotham Academy.
Yeah. That would be really cute.
Olive would kick ass in an animated show. Like I like that.
Yes.
I like the dark, melancholic tone of the whole Olive vibe I'm into.
Yes.
I just think that like I don't think the next Gotham Academy would center on her. You know what I mean?
Maps is right there.
Oh yeah. Maps is clearly main character energy. We love her. If you had the opportunity to, you know, write more of it, would you have any other characters you'd want to cameo from the Bat world?
Nope.
Okay.
I don't even like cameoing. Like I think the Damien thing was fun, but I was kind of like not into the whole, like I wanted to do as little of that stuff as possible, because it was sort of it was kind of fan service, and it's kind of a crutch that I didn't want to lean on. And I thought our characters were strong enough that we didn't have to do that, but it was important to editorial, especially, that we kind of tie it more concretely into the larger DC universe, which is why they did that, like kind of like, what was it, like a Joker war? I don't know what it was. There was some kind of like tie-in.
Yeah.
There was some crossover stuff that I was just not really interested in. If it was
that's
just me,
how
I
I
would
am
do
too.
standalone stories, just featuring those kids and like having different Bat villains show up.
Yes.
And the occasional Robin, whatever.
Okay.
But like,
I am very effectively fan serviced by a Robin appearance, so I was here.
I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad it worked for you. Look, that issue is amazing. Like that issue Helen drew and painted with, like, it's just Robin and Damien. It's fantastic.
Karl, if you had the chance to tell any Batman or Bat family story, no limitations, what would it be? And we can include Gotham Academy characters in this.
Oh God, I mean, there's so many stories you could tell. Right now, for sure, I would be interested in just doing more Gotham Academy. Yeah. I feel like the time is right.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
Because Batman, I mean, like, it's coming up with original Batman stories is kind of difficult. I mean, it's just been through so much. If I were going to do Batman stuff, I think I would definitely do a more 80s approach to it. Like I would go, I don't know what the story would be, but it would be very much about detective work, and it would be he'd be very much wearing a blue and gray costume.
I love it.
with underwear.
I want to see Batman do detecting work again. It's been a minute.
Yeah, I know. That's the Batman I always liked. That's the Batman I grew up with and what I always wanted. Like I'm not into the the giant like Gotham wide like crises and things like that. I just want him doing more quiet detective stuff. There's all that stuff in the black and white book.
Yes.
Basically, I want Batman the animated series.
Yes. That's what we all want.
Yeah.
We can all agree.
Karl, my surprise for you was that I Googled you right before you got here, and your age was 71.
No, I've heard this.
How did this happen?
I said,
You
no
saw
way.
me on camera. I'm a spry 71-year-old.
You look so good for your age.
I saw a picture from 10 years ago, and I'm like, there's no way.
No, I don't know how that happened, and a few people have told me, and I just ignore it. One time I tried to
So
change
funny.
a Wikipedia entry to with like for accuracy, and someone changed it back, and I just thought, oh well, whatever. And then I just never looked at it again.
You're being effectively pranked by someone, is what we're
I know.
learning.
You could get that COVID vaccine.
Yeah, there you go.
Tell
Good
them to
point.
Google you.
Right, yeah. Check my wiki.
Right.
I'm eligible.
You are.
I meant to bring that up earlier and totally forgot. But...
No, it's a good one though. I never thought of that. I'm old, but I'm not that.
No.
Karl, where can our listeners find you on social media?
I'm at Karl Kerschl on basically wherever, like Twitter and Instagram primarily. My website's karlkerschl.com. That's about it. Yeah.
Do you have any projects coming up other than the one we've already talked about?
Projects.
Oh, yes.
Oh God, I have so
Please.
many, like too many. I have a DC thing I can't talk about, but I've Isola from Image Comics is ongoing. That's it's been on hiatus because of COVID, but I'm working on the 3rd volume of that right now. I'm doing sporadically updating my webcomic, which is called The Abominable Charles Christopher, and that's at abominable.cc. That's like 400 or so comic strips you can read in the archive for free. It's all there. And I just am wrapping up a 20-page black and white kind of manga inspired science fiction story. It's kind of like a Metroid / Hellboy sort of sci-fi thing that I'm just doing for fun.
Yeah.
So that's all on my website. What else? And then just odds and ends of different things.
That sounds incredible. Lots of fun things for our listeners to check out.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and Batman Black and White.
And Batman Black and White, which came out like a few weeks ago, I think. Issue 4.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you need more maps in your life, and why wouldn't you, go check it out.
It's the only maps. Actually, wait, maps. She might have been in. Did she cameo in anything else? Like, was she in like Black Canary or something? I know Heathcliff was in the Black Canary book that Brendan was writing shortly after Gotham
She
Academy.
has. What was she? Something. There's something.
Anyway, there's not enough. So this is like the first significant maps stuff that's come out in a while.
Yeah.
And when I get the chance, I will kind of smuggle her into some
Good.
other
Just
stuff.
everywhere.
There's such a push in the fandom to see her as Robin. So I feel like that your story was just kind of a reward for people.
Yeah.
I hope there is. I mean, like I see a lot of love for that character on social media, and it's been years now. So the fact that people are still talking about it is really it just makes me really happy, so it'd be nice to see more of
They
her.
are hungry for more.
Yes,
Year
we are
3.
too. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
We are too. We love it. And so we're excited for any content that comes.
Yeah. I think it's important to have a book for younger readers and like all ages as well.
Yeah. When I was helping my niece learn how to read, this is one of the first ones we picked up and read together. And so in my heart, it always has that connection as well.
That's great. It's good to hear. It's basically like Scooby-Doo level.
Yes.
Like adventuring, so it's with a bit of Batman in there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's, at the time, I think DC wasn't really doing any YA stuff like that. I think maybe they've expanded that a bit more. Like I know there's some superhero girls stuff, and I'm not sure what else they're doing, but slowly it's happening. Slowly they're getting some content out there.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming on and talking to us today.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, it was a pleasure. I didn't expect any of these questions, and they were all super fun. So I think you should have Brendan and Becky on next. You should have them on as a pair. And
I would love that.
Let them bicker.
Oh, would love that.
Yeah. Because now there's questions I want some answers to.
Yeah, about the croc.
Yeah, I mean
the Croc.
No comment.